Hi, friend. Today I am sharing 8 things that I've learned with my dyslexia. So, if you're interested in learning about tips and tricks to make your life easier, then this video is for you. Let's get into it. My name is Kathleen, by the way, and I'm a dyslexic here to help other dyslexics. I also help busy, overwhelmed parents understand their child's frustration with dyslexia so they can support, encourage, and empower them. Dyslexia is such a tricky thing. It really is, because there are certain things that we aren't good at, which is reading, writing, and spelling, sometimes math. And those are the things that we're introduced to early on in education. So dyslexia seems like this overwhelming thing that we have to conquer and learn, and we watch all our other friends understand all this information, and we are struggling to read simple words like I, you, me, the sight words, and reading is so hard and so overwhelming. Then you've got spelling, and that is even bigger challenge sometimes for dyslexics. I know for me it is. And then you just compound all of that because at school you're expected to read all day in every single subject. You're expected to write responses and complete sentences and spell everything. The demand for education when you have dyslexia is so overwhelming and frustrating. And I totally understand that because I've been there. And I love to focus on the positives, but I'm not going to hide the fact that dyslexia is hard. Dyslexia is frustrating. Dyslexia takes so much and so many techniques to overcome it. But the good news is it can be done. I'm not going to lie. There have been many tears, many days of frustration, many days of wanting to quit and give up. Absolutely. But there are a few things that I've learned along the way, and I want to share those things with you. So, tip number 1 is focus on the advantages. Yes, there are advantages, but when we are in school, it really doesn't seem like it because day in and day out, all we are faced with are our limitations and what we can't do. So, reading, writing, and spelling are shoved in our face every day, all day long while we're at school. And yes, that affects our self-esteem, our self-confidence. Yes. And as parents and people that support dyslexics, we have to work on rebuilding their self-esteem and their confidence on a daily basis. One of the best ways to do that is to help them understand their strengths as a dyslexic. There are so many. I have found over 52 of them that I am aware of, and I just love talking about them. So figure out exactly what the strengths are. And for me, I know it's being able to simplify things, making connections to the real world, thinking outside the box, literally being a critical thinker, and being empathetic. So figuring out what those are and focusing on those is one of the best places to start in helping a dyslexic. Tip number 2 is coming from years of experience. Don't hide your dyslexia. I did it for years, and it catches up with you. And when it comes out, it's not the prettiest thing. And there are so many more supports and understanding about it now, so it's much easier to embrace your dyslexia than it used to be. So definitely embrace it. I hid it when I was in the business world. I didn't tell anybody. I just thought it magically went away and it didn't affect me. But looking back on it, it did affect me. It affected me every single day. It affected how I wrote emails, how I responded, how I wrote things, but it also gave me advantages. I was able to simplify and help improve workflow processes that other people weren't aware of, and I made it easier and more efficient company that I worked for using my dyslexic brain, and I had no clue that that was because of my dyslexia. So, knowing the advantages and embracing your dyslexia are a great start. Tip number 3 is something I still use to this day: accommodations. Accommodations are not cheating, they don't give you an advantage at all. They simply give you your time back. And I know exactly which accommodations I need to put in place to help me run my business, to help me run my day to day life. And that way I don't spend so much time and feel overwhelmed with certain things. And the first one is I love to get PDFs. And when I feel overwhelmed about how much content there is and how much there is, I go ahead and load it to a reader, a screen reader. And so the screen reader reads it to me. And not only that, I get so much time back and I understand it so much more that I'm able to feel so much more confident about it than did I misread that word, did I misunderstand it. Load it in the screen reader, listen to it, and move on. When it comes to writing, I get overwhelmed because I focus on so many things at the same time instead of focusing on one at a time, because that spelling, I can't spell, creeps up every single time I sit down to write. And so with that, I use speech to text. And so there is free out there, and when you have a Google account, you can literally go into the tools section and click on the microphone over there, turn it on, and start talking, and it types everything out for you. That has saved me so much time, and it is a lifesaver, and I still use it to this day. Then, once I'm finished with that, because I'm not the best writer, I never have been, I need to edit it. And so, the best way I found for me for editing is to go ahead and take what I've written in the Word document and load it to that same screen reader I use to read documents and have it read my writing back to me. And I am able to find so many more mistakes and fix it much easier when I use that. So, knowing exactly which assistive technology and accommodations help you, and just knowing that it gives you your time back and it helps level the playing field, changes things so much. Tip number 4 is trust your instinct or your gut. Hands down, every time, your instinct is always right. And I have gone against my instinct so many times because I'm like, no, 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 no. I can find a way, I can make it work. But if I had just followed my instinct, I would be in a much better place. So if your instinct is telling you something's not right, more than likely it is. And go ahead and follow that. Tip number 5 goes back to when I was growing up and studying. It's don't spend your entire life studying. It's totally not worth it. Absolutely not worth it at all. Because the information is either going to come or it's not. Make sure that you're still enjoying life and that you have a balanced life, that you spend so much time studying, but you spend so much time with your friends and enjoying it. I know for me, growing up, I spent almost every free second I had not spending time with my friends and things like that. I was always too busy studying, trying to understand to make that A, or getting something done, or off at tutoring to try to understand something. Yes, that was great, but there needed to be limits and boundaries. So go ahead and figure out what your boundaries are, set them, and don't move away from those boundaries. The next one is don't be a perfectionist. I am the ultimate perfectionist, and it drives me crazy. Everything needs to be done, everything needs to be perfect. And I've learned that life is messy. Life is unpredictable. Everything is. And so don't be a perfectionist. In fact, shoot for, if you're going to be, lower your standard and have it be 80%. Push for 80% accuracy or 80% done, and you are well on your way. So drop being a perfectionist. Since I have worked really, really hard on that, life has become easier and I get so much more done. Tip number 7 is surround yourself with people that support you. Make sure that the people that you have around you lift you up every day on a consistent basis. Your family, your friends. And if they know you, they know that dyslexia has its limitations, but then there are going to be ways that you're going to be able to support your family and your friends in different ways. 2 of those for me is I'm very empathetic. I'm able to relate to my family much better than other people are and my friends, but I'm also able to problem solve quickly. So I'm able to figure out what's going on much faster than anybody else and come up with a solution to help them. Tip number 8 is make learning as multisensory as possible. With this, there are 4 senses that we're talking about. So the first one is visual, then auditory or hearing, tactile, which is touch, and kinesthetic, which is movement. And when you stop and think about that, dyslexics process information on the right side of the brain, which is the artistic side of the brain, and everybody else processes the information on the left side of the brain. So when we're processing our information on the right side of the brain, it takes us longer to process the information. But when we receive the information through multiple senses, it's easier for us to understand and learn the information. And so that's some of the reason that we like to get up and move around is because we're absorbing information in different ways. I have for you today, and if you're looking for more information on dyslexia, go ahead and pick up my freebie Dyslexia Guide, and I will link that for you in the description. Please go ahead and like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys!